Can we start? Can go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
Awesomeness. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. Welcome to the Black Business Growth Initiative. Today we have our event. It's been a while since we've done an online event. So it's a real honor to be here today and participate virtually as well. We had our last event last month, but we thought because of the numbers going up, of COVID-19 numbers going up, we couldn't do a virtual event. We couldn't do a live event, so rather go virtual instead. So yeah, so that's where we are. So thank you once again for everyone who's joining us, and to everyone who is watching us and joining us. I would like to take 30 seconds of your time. Take 30 seconds of your time and share the link. Share with people the YouTube link. If you're watching on YouTube, share it with your friends. If you're watching via Facebook, do a watch so more people can watch us. The more people can watch us, the better, and we're really excited about it. Today we have a great panel. We're going to be discussing with us, the sort of fundamentals or the of black text. What is black text? Where does it come from? Where do we stand with it? And we're really excited to unpack this today. Today, I am your host. My name is Luntu Masiza, for those who do not know me. I'm an actor and I'm a member of the Black Business Growth Initiative. And I've been involved since 2019. And over the last 2 years or so since it started, I've grown so much as a person, and just the connections that I've made, and such a beautiful and an amazing platform to grow as a person. So I'm real honored to be part of it and be involved hands-on and being given the opportunity as well to host and be the host today. So thank you so much once again to everyone who's watching. Do go and share, please, 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 please. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna ask 30 seconds just about on our panelists who have joined us, just to tell us where they are speaking from and something that people may not know about them, something interesting that people may not know about you. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. I know I've put you on the spot. I know, I'm really sorry. I'm speaking from Johannesburg. One interesting that people might not know about me. I'm actually a shy person deep down inside. I know it seems weird. I know, Khanya, I can see you looking at me, but very funny. A lot of people say, really? Deep down inside, I'm a shy person. That's something interesting about me that people might not know. Khanya, I'm gonna come to you quickly. Where are you speaking from, and what is one interesting thing that people don't know about you? Surprises.
So I'm speaking from Cape Town, the wineland side of Cape Town. One interesting thing about me that people don't know, I guess there's a lot that people don't know, but I am a rural girl. I am from the rural mountains of KwaZulu-Natal, very rural. So the rural part is what they don't know, I guess, yeah.
I didn't know that. Even I'm gonna give you the look. Like, really?
I am, 100%.
Butimzo, I'm gonna come to you. Tell us where you're speaking to us from and one interesting thing about you.
Good evening, Luntu, and good evening to everyone else. I'm sitting in the city of Johannesburg, or is it called Johannesburg these days? The one interesting thing about me probably would be to say that, I used to have dreadlocks.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
And that's the honest truth.
Rastafari, was that you? Wow, that's interesting. I can't imagine you with dreadlocks, but I'm trying to picture it. And my mind is like, no, it doesn't make sense.
No, it was a very different zone then.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. Yanga, I'm gonna come to you, sir. He's shaking his head like, no, I didn't sign up for this.
Lundu, I'm here in the Western Cape, Somerset West, and I must say, this first test I have already failed. It will take me well more than an hour to think of one thing that's interesting about me.
I'm sure there's something.
Give me a fail. Mark me absent.
No, there's no film. It's just that you're an interesting person somehow. This answer alone makes you very interesting. So we'll take that. No, thank you so much. Thank you so much as well, panelists. So for those who are watching, I hope you have started sharing. I hope you are on Facebook sharing the link, and that you are on YouTube sharing the link as well, as we participate in this very interesting topic today. And also, we've got Uzola who will be taking questions. So if you have any comments, feel free to comment, and then our technical guys behind the scenes will take those questions and they'll bring them to us. Zola, if you are there listening, I don't know if we have the vision and mission for BBGI. If not, don't worry, I've got it here at the top of my head.
Zola, go ahead, my brother, go ahead.
Okay, I'll go ahead, sir. Thank you so much. So I think one of the things that we always speak about, if you're asking yourself, like, what is BBGI? What's this thing about, Black Business Growth Initiative? Uput Saz, who started it in 2019, he was saying that one of the issues that he had faced or seen in Cape Town in particular was that people would go through their own issues within our own communities. Black communities, and not speak about maybe they might be facing at work, but also there wasn't like a social place where people can come together and grow each other. And for him, he was saying that it was kind of frustrating because it's like, hey, if I'm not the one who's organizing a hike and organizing soccer and doing all of these things, what would people actually be doing if that's the case? You know, so he started to ask himself that. And then he came to a point like, look, how about we start a community where we can learn, where we can grow from each other, where we can also, you know, grow. We talk about economic freedom in South Africa. After 1994, what happens? Where did that economic freedom, who's got that economic freedom? Yes, we've got our own people, our African brothers working so hard, but who's benefiting from it? So why don't we start a place where we can actually get the money and let it circle between our community as Black people, business owners, and if you're a professional, you might say, look, I'm not a business owner, but I'm a professional. How does Black Business Growth Initiative benefit me in that sense? And you might not know, but we want to build a community, a space where we can uplift and we can share ideas. Maybe there's something that you're going through at work and you've got no one to speak to about. So this is a platform for that as well, to be able to come and speak and say, hey guys, I'm an MD at this particular company, but I feel like I don't have a voice. I don't feel like people understand me. And then we start to share ideas and ways, how can we do this, and create that platform for you to also speak and share. You might say, look, I'm a student. How is Black Business Growth Initiative gonna help me? And those are the stuff that we want to come up with, more initiative, and more young people also getting involved with Black Business Growth Initiative, where we can have mentors mentoring students. You might say you want us to take a particular career, and then we might, you know, the future is to get your mentors and to be able to help you and guide you from the Black Business Growth Initiative. So that is us in a nutshell. Who is it for? It's for all Africans. You know, if you're an African, it's for you. We're not against you know, any race, but it is particular and specifically for Black-owned businesses as well, and Black professions, and that is the vision. And we recently started, actually, we launched last month a marketplace. So we've got a website, the Black Business Growth Initiative website, where it's got a marketplace where it's almost like using the Take-A-Lot sort of footprint, where Black businesses can put their businesses on there. And then you as a buyer, if you're looking for a particular service, you can say, okay, I'm looking for coaching, or you go there, you see all the services that are doing coaching. If you say you do baking, you do cakes, the services. No, Khanya does cakes, by the way. That's why she's smiling. And she baked a beautiful cake for me last year. But let me carry on with the point I'm saying. So if you're looking for a cake, you can actually just type in baking or cakes, and then those services will come up. All the Black business owners who own those particular services will come up. So that is what the Black Business Growth Initiative is initially about. And our core values, we talk about collaboration. We talk about, unity and coming together, and really wishing good for one another. That is a key thing. Just because I've started a particular business, and now you see that idea within the community, like, hey, let me go and sabotage it, or let me try and do exactly the same thing. We don't want any of that. We want people with the same mindset and who wish good and have good intention within the community. And that is BBGI on a nutshell. I think I've spoken enough about it. And I've already spoken about the marketplace. So look, our website, it's there, but it's still, we're still working on it. We're still trying to sort out things and try to fix it. Because I know some people have also asked and say, hey guys, you launched the website. What's happening? Where is it? Can we already start adding our businesses on there? You will shortly. Just give us a bit of time. We're still sorting out things, and then we can go on a full roll and everyone can participate in. But for now, just bear with us. Just have a bit of patience with us. All right, cool. Enough talking on my side. Why are we here today? I think that's the question we want to know, and probably you're asking yourself. And I know some people have seen the poster. So as we were thinking, we're like, oh, it's Mandela Month. And what is Mandela Month about? We understand that Mandela Month is about giving and sacrificing and being of service. And with that and taking that and saying, okay, how do we make it different? How do we start a topic around that? And a number of suggestions came up, but that one that really stood out was the Black text, the conflict perhaps of Black text within our communities. I'm not sure if I can say the conflicts, but what it comes with, for some people, why does it feel like a burden? But not only that, what other ways can one sort of give? Does it only have to be financial? But anyways, as we unpack these questions, today we've got our lovely panelists who are going to tell us and sort of their point of views. But before they do that, I would like for them just to tell us just who they are, where they're from, and what is it that they do. And then Khanya, I'm going to start with you. Just tell us, what is it that you do, your profession? Don't be shy. We always talk about here at BBGI that don't be shy about telling us what you do, because we want to, people to know what you do and not hold back and celebrate your excellence that you've done. So I'll start with you. Ladies first.
I was about to say, it's interesting how you keep starting with me. Gosh. Anyway, well, I am Mchunu, born and bred in KZN. Moved to Cape Town 13 years ago, which is 2008, to pursue my undergrad in town and regional planning. So I currently hold a town and regional planning qualification. But also pursuing my postgrad studies in public management with the hope to do my master's in governance through the University of Witwatersrand. So what do I do? I think I'm a social justice, social protection specialist. And why I say that, for the longest time, I have practiced in that space. Even though I hold a qualification in town and regional planning, early in my career, realized that I couldn't identify with the practice, especially me being located in Cape Town. And therefore, I gradually moved into the NGO space, and I held or worked in various sectors of the NGO sector, predominantly in public participatory planning, in housing, education, and now at the moment I'm in social justice. So yeah, I've got a very keen interest in empowerment and development of women and communities, and ensuring that communities come up with their own sustainable solutions to the issues that they have, more so our rural and displaced communities. Outside of that, I also bake, as Uluntu mentioned. So I do own a small, very small company where I bake novelty cakes. Novelty is specialty, so I don't do mass production. And that's basically the place where I guess my creative juices flow, outside of my 9 to 5. I have participated in quite a number of things where I've been in the advisory team of the Stellenbosch Housing Development Module for their postgrad diploma. Also participated in the SMME development strategy, where I pitched one of the winning business ideas. Yeah, and then recently been one of the 20 young professionals who participated in the DG Marie Trust Fellowship Program, looking at organizational innovation. And last but not least, was also selected to be part of the AMAX, American Express Academy for Nonprofit Leaders in South Africa. So being part of that academy. But yeah, my heart and my soul rests in community development, social protection, and building our communities.
Wow, well done. Look at you, check you out. Yes, clap, clap, clap. Oh, I forgot I can't hear the people. I'm excited. I hope they're clapping if they're watching from home. Gentlemen, feel free to clap as well. Don't be shy. All right. Yes, yes. So that's the way. Thank you. And hey, I can testify for the cake. Yeah, man. Yeah. You knocked me out, and I didn't want it to finish. I was hoping it would grow.
Unfortunately, they don't grow. They finish. They get depleted.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Khanya. Butimzo, I'm gonna come to you. Butimzo, if you can just tell us who you are, where you're from, and what is it that you do.
Thanks, Lutu. The name is Tshaka. Born in a small town in the Eastern Cape called Mount Alief. I completed my schooling in Tshaka, and then I went to Cape Town, and I lived there for a good 20 odd years. By profession, I'm a lawyer. I have practiced law for, over 15 years now as a lawyer. And I co-own a business called DLH Consulting. We specialize primarily with M&A, that is mergers and acquisition work, corporate finance work, renewable energies. That's our core business. We are a niche legal consultancy, so we don't do a lot of other stuff that your typical law firm does, but that's the niche that we focus on. One of our projects, for those in Cape Town that would know, is if you're somewhere around Century City, chances are you are connected to the infrastructure that was supplied by Century Connect. That was a transaction that was done at our offices. So it's one of those proud things that I can always refer to. Other than that, I also serve as a company secretary for Black Management Forum Investments Company. And I think if you were to go on LinkedIn, I think that's the one that they've selected as the top. So people always think that I am a full-time company secretary of the MFI. It's something I do, but my main business is DLH Consulting. For my travels, I've also taken up a position as the Deputy Company Secretary of BMF, the organization. So BMF owns the BMFI. So I serve as the Company Secretary at BMFI and the Deputy at BMF. The reason for that is that I'm really passionate about things that the organization called BMF stands for. which is the development of managerial leadership, particularly amongst us as Black people. So it's part of the reason why I feel sometimes that I've extended myself to do things that are BMF, and it's something that I'm really passionate about. Yeah, and other than that, I'm a golfer. You will find me at the golf course. I am touching in on a single-digit handicap. So yeah, that's me.
I want your life. I also want to be a golfer. You know what they say about people who are golfers, which means they've made it in life. No.
Don't believe everything you hear.
No, thank you so much. Guys. Even you at home, clap your hands, snap your fingers. All right, cool. But Yanga, I'm going to come to you.
All right. Good evening, Luntu. Again, and greetings to everyone who's watching at home. The name is Yanga Duma. I'm from humble beginnings, from a township called Mdantsane. It's in the Eastern Cape, East London region. I'm a Mdantsane born boy, based in Cape Town, came here, studied internal auditing. I went into banking, spent a few years in banking. Then I left and joined the insurance sector. I now run a financial planning business called If Insurance Intermediary. We offer a variety of insurance. I just spend a lot.
Which means you'll host us very soon. Thank you. With that cooking, I look forward to a meal. As you can see, I'm a big eater. No, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yanga, sorry. So, look, as we're saying today, what we're discussing is the phenomenon of black text. You know, as I said earlier on, as a team, we looked at this topic. We said, look, it's the month, it's Mandela Month. How can we make it relevant to everyone out there who's watching us? Besides just doing, you know, going to place in, for example, if you're working for a company and doing a specific thing for a charity or an NGO, and then going back to your offices, how does it affect your everyday person as well? What does that mean to sort of, when we talk about black text and talk about giving, because it can be a bit controversial, because we're out there, we're giving so much, but, you know, and then we look at ourselves sometimes, we still want to build certain things, or we still want to do certain things that, like, hey, how much can I give? And just really unpacking that topic. I know Yanga had prepared something for us to start off in our conversation, just to present from his side, his thoughts and views when it comes to black text and what does it mean from him. Yanga, are you ready to go? Just unmute yourself, sir.
All right.
All right, I'll let you take it away, sir.
Cool. So good evening again. I think I'll do a sprint on this one. This is not my show. From the term black tax, no one likes to pay tax. Many strategies to avoid tax, which is legal, have been crafted by smart minds to make sure that people do not pay tax. And others went on to evade tax, which is illegal. Now, by the very term of saying black tax, that on its own depicts something we do not want to do. We've had other terms where we say black diamond, and black people said we don't want to be called that. Yet we do want to be identified with terms whereby we say this is black excellence. This is a black icon. So in the very terming of the whole phrase black text, it depicts something we do not want to be part of. So already we should relook at that on its own. Maybe before we talk about black text, we need to understand where we are coming from as a black nation and as a black society. We come from, as you would see there on the screen, we come from a time where before Luntu eats, you make sure wherever you stay, you first call all your other peers before eating time. Dishing is not going to happen until Sazi is home, or we also wait for Mzo until all of us, it's our responsibility. Before we eat, we find all others, and then we start eating. That is where, as a black nation, we come from. We are now in a time where when food is dished, we just say, this is only enough for me. I cannot call you, Luntu, to also come share on this food. Strangely enough, in that same setup, that economy in a rural one family doesn't have cattle, there is no food in that family. Yet, where we are coming from, there would be a family that would sacrifice its own livestock to make sure that that family next door or elsewhere around is able to also be given in our language. It is to say inkunzi, and they mate. Whatever that comes out of that, we know that that family will also start to have its own livestock, thereby be able to farm or to have a livelihood. And when we went to town in this setup, you know, there's one village baki, that well-off family that is well enough to have transportation from the village to town. And this village would be used to go to hospitals, to all over. And when you see it in town, immediately you say, this baki must stop, almost as if you own it. You knew at the time that what is your neighbors, you also have a share in, and they also were open enough to help. And as it is the Mandela Month, one of our icons quotations as written there is nothing more important in life than giving. Tolerance is forged when people look beyond their own desires. That is Tata Nelson Mandela. That is where we are coming from as a black nation. Where we currently are now as a black nation, we are very much looking in ourselves. We are focused more on materials as to, do I have the latest machine? Do I dress the brands that are named today? Am I found to be fashionable or Instagrammable? Am I popping? You know, and the education that we now have, that in yesteryears we did not have, nor our parents had. We are more focused on being the only one in a particular segment, being the first black who does this, the only one who works for this particular company, the first one to have had the new iPhone. So even in our definition of our houses, our families, we have the smallest families. It's now mom, dad, and the kids. The focus is no longer a focus for everybody, but it is more on us. And that is where we are. Nelson Mandela further says, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. In our narrative today, as we talk about black text, you may ask yourself, how has the benefit of being educated changed our society? Secondly, you may ask yourself, now that I'm educated, what is my role in my immediate society to make sure that that change in the world is realized? One may ask themselves, what is it that when we're in poverty, our struggles are common and we are united, yet when plenty that we do have, yet we are divided and everything seems to be just about me, and I term it tax, something I do not want, I grudge to pay it. These very poor people that come from these backgrounds that I mentioned earlier were prayerful people. And I will just take you, I won't take you to church, but I'll just take 2 lines from a prayer we all know. When we pray for resources, we make all sorts of promises. And the Lord's Prayer, which is our Father, we identify to say we all have one Father, which we refer to as our Father. And we go and say, give us this day our daily bread. And when we get these resources, when we get these promotions, when we get this education, when we get the ability of a mindset that we can impart to another, we say it is no longer our daily bread. It is mine and mine alone. And anyone who is coming to partake in this bread is now not a friend, but an enemy. The resources that we do have, which we've asked for from the Father, they end with us because our conception is all about us. It's all framed at mom, dad, and the kids. As I logged out, because this show is not mine, our icon, which we celebrate this month, goes on to say, a fundamental concern for others in our individual and community lives would go a long way in making the world a better place. So the one we so passionately dream of. He continues to say, overcoming poverty is not a gesture of charity. So this is not something we must be taking selfie sticks when we do a gesture of goodwill for someone else. He further says it is the protection of a fundamental human right, the right to dignity and a decent life. Inside of us, every man, man's goodness is a flame that can never be hidden nor extinguished. Inside each of us, we know we have been given that fire to help someone else climb up the ladder, just like we have also been helped. So my submission, as we have termed this course to say it's black text, something that is being taken away, almost stripped off from us because we do not want it. Let us revisit how we've defined it, and in that, find how we can be people who can be relied upon to say, can we be counted in making human lives better, the world a better place? Icons such as Madiba, who have given even their lives, not just the resources, their lives, time in prison. Can we be counted in that struggle? Thank you.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Yanga. There's a lot that you have unpacked already from your side. And I'm really excited what Khanya and Budumzo has to say as well. And I guess from your point that you just mentioned now, for me, one thing that truly stands out and one thing that I'm reminded of is that when we talk about Ubuntu and humanity, and and what does that mean, and how do we make it a thing that we live by every single day? Ubuntu. That's what I'm reminded as you were speaking now. Now, Khanya, I'm going to come to you, ma'am. I can see you're ready to speak. You couldn't hold your mouth. Sorry, you got my attention.
Sorry, you used some of my words. That's why. I guess thank you, Yanga, for that lovely presentation. I think I'll be departing from that same or similar point of view. So when I was presented with today's topic, I will not lie, I had a dilemma internally, and predominantly the dilemma came from me being unable to identify Uguti, what does black tax mean for the black man? What does black tax mean for Khanya wa Mchunu or Kamga Eswidot? Because I don't know that, you know? And I bothered myself and I Googled, and obviously it came with financial support that Black professionals are expected. And I want us to highlight expected to give extended families. The reason why I wanted us to highlight expected is because the moment you're expected to do something, it's almost like you're not given a choice. And you can't run away from the negative aspects of not being given a choice. And then the US goes as far as saying, it goes as far as to describe it as dimensions that perpetuate a cycle of inequality. Again, walking away from that, I did not understand that. And why I say this is because having the qualifications that I have and where I sit at the moment, I could have never woke up alone, or at least with my mother, and been able to do all of that and be able to be where I'm seated at this moment. Now, coming back to black tax, internally, personally, I realized that the word black tax did not come from us anyway. It was people trying to define and put a name to something that we are innately born with as Black people. As Black people, we don't come from ourselves. We come from some and we give back. Traced back also on my career, I've never, in any job that I have done that I did not feel like I was giving back, I've never felt in place. And again, that goes back to who we are. As you said, when Aluntu, Ubuntu ukuthi sazi ukuba sakhana kanjani as umphakathi, as abantu. Sorry, I could not translate that to English, actually. But it's not individualistic, it's not selfish, and it's not upon oneself and saying, you know what, I've come this far, so I need to look after myself. So that was my dilemma as I looked at the topic of black tax. I actually felt more comfortable with saying, giving back, realizing that I am where I am because others have been before me. I am because you are. I am because my mother has been, my grandmother has been, and the community that I come from has been. So how do I then, as Umdana Waseswi daughter, look back and say, what is it that I can do for the next Black person coming in this economical turmoil that we are faced with as Black people, help them rise to a part of themselves that's better than yesterday. So I really comfortably sat with more so giving back, more so looking back and saying, and I think going back to my personal experience, and I think that was part of your question, it didn't even have to sit at where do I come from? I mean, I'm far flung. I come from KZN. I am serving in Cape Town. But I had to realize, Wuti, the same struggles that Cape Town young people face are similar to those of KZN. And unfortunately or fortunately, I'm not placed in KZN, but what can I do in this moment to serve those that I'm with? But at the same time, not forgetting where I'm coming from, my mother, those that come before me, are they well taken care of? Because I'm to a dilapidated house and be like, oh yeah, no, I'm a qualified town planner, and then put black tax, so that my path can be paved and made more pleasing and I guess comfortable, if that's the right word. So that's me and my experience of the word black tax. I think it's just a name. More so what we do is give back. More so what we do is connect. More so what we do is build communities and understand that it is bigger than us. It is bigger than me today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nogani. Thank you for the brilliant points that you made there. And it's important to look back where you come from. I believe in order for you to know where you're going, we must look back. Where do I come from? Where am I going next? And if we forget where we come from, I think we're doomed. That's just my perspective as well on my side. If we don't look back of where we come from and how do we give back and reach out to where we come from and remember the things which were planted in us growing up by those who played way, in our lives. Thank you, Khanya. Brilliant, man. Kutimzo is a boengo. Good indeed, and that one who said the rate come through.
The sad thing about being speaking last is that by the time you talk, everyone has said everything useful to be said on the subject, and you end up repeating this stuff. But I think for me, I have a difficulty with the general perception that the idea of what is called black tax is a negative thing. And I read an article as I was preparing for this evening. The first line of the article says something like, black tax is something that almost all successful young black people have to deal with. And I just had so many problems with that very first line in that whole article, that what I see as me doing what was done to me by those who came before me is being seen as something that has to be dealt with. I just think part of the negative perception is because of how this thing is all framed. And it's quite strange because me and you, we pay all sorts of taxes. It is the reason we have, 17, 18 million people on social grants. Those social grants come from our taxes that we pay. Somehow we don't see that as a bad thing in the context of us paying the tax. We see it as a bad thing in the economic sense, but it's a tax we pay. And personally, I don't see me helping someone who might be less fortunate than me, and sometimes they're not. But I don't see me assisting someone as that being some form of a tax. And that's largely because of how I grew up. I mean, I grew up being assisted by my older brother, who was assisting myself and 5 of his siblings, including myself. When I think of him, the first time he got a driver's license was when he was closing on age 40. And I had the driver's license before him. When I left Mount Elif and I went to study in Tshaka, I stayed with a relative who didn't have to house me at their house, who didn't have to provide food for me, but they did that. And it wasn't with an expectation of something. So I think part of the narrative is that, and I think it may, as Khanya has said, it may have been started by someone else to call this thing a black tax. But I think in the main, it's us who refer to what we do as black tax. And I think it's up to us to change that narrative. Because once we call black tax in the current context, it just gives this idea that it is something wrong that we're doing. It is something that is holding us back from prospering, whatever prospering means. We see us helping someone else as something that is just delaying our progress. And I think we should disabuse ourselves of that perception. It's it being a Mandela month, a month where we are all encouraged to do something for someone less fortunate than us. We should try to see if we can't change the perception about what is really a social investment. And when you get involved in a social investment, you don't look for the same kind of returns that you look at when you do a financial investment. And the moment we see what we do as a social investment, I think we will appreciate more the value of doing what we currently term black tax. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's my view on the subject.
No, thank you so much, Budumzo. And I guess for me now, maybe it's the wording that's perhaps been used, and that makes it feel like a burden. You know, black text, you know, you already, it feels like, oh, no, man, that text when I say, because I paid tax and now I'm being taxed at home, it feels, I think it's the way perhaps the wording itself might contradict itself when we hear the word black text. But before we go on into our next question, I want to just ask Uzola if we have any comments from our viewers who are watching us now currently. And maybe before I go, we can probably ask even that question of how does it affect maybe our careers, our businesses, you know, our well-being, even going to that extent. Perhaps that's something they can already think about. When we talk about black text, does it affect our businesses, our careers, our well-being? I know you probably, and just probably being more specific to that, particularly the well-being one. I'm really interested if does it affect our well-being. So I'll give you maybe a couple of seconds whilst Uzola, who's on our technical team, is taking any questions to see if there's any questions on Facebook or YouTube. Zola, over to you, sir. Is there any questions, any comments from the people?
Yes, there's two in particular. One, I think it's directed to Yanga. He had made a highlight with regards to people when they give. Now there's this new trend that people want to take a photo and then post it online. So that the argument around that particular instance is that now what do people do in a case where the idea is not to say, celebrate me as someone who's helping out, but rather I'm starting a trend, guys. This is what we need to do. We need to give back. So as opposed to it being attached to this negative picture that it has now, suddenly that now when I take a picture of someone, of me helping someone, I'm somehow trying to put myself in this great light in society, as opposed to saying, this gentleman here is trying to inspire the next guy within his circle, his social media circle, to say, guys, giving back is a thing to do. So how do we then bridge that gap of saying, I want to inspire my guys within my social circle that giving back is a good thing. But on the other hand, there's the negative attachment to it, that when I give back and I take a picture in me trying to inspire someone else, someone is going to read that as, oh no, you shouldn't have done that now. Why are you doing that? Why are you trying to project yourself as this good person? Why can't you just help in silence? So how do we balance that? So that would be question one. Question two would be, is there an opportunity to change the whole concept or the meaning, the wording, black text, such that now the community doesn't feel like I'm being taxed to help those that help, whether lead the way or those that I'm leading behind a car. So those are the two questions we have thus far.
All right. Would anyone like to tackle? No, Khanya, I can see you nodding. Would you like to tackle the second one? You can go ahead.
Oh, so we're starting with the second one. Okay. So one of the things I've learned to understand in wording, words actually build our construct around understanding of concepts and the emotions that are connected to certain words. For example, all black, for the most part, it has never been identified with anything positive. Tax at the same time. Yanga explicitly showed us when you get taxed, I mean, you look at your payslip and you're like, this is so much of my money going towards God knows what. And I think in answering the second question, if we could get to a place where we cease allowing people who don't understand our concepts to name them, we would start being able to name our own concepts. We would start being able to say, what I am doing is giving back, paying it forward, Ubuntu. And then, and unfortunately, it starts with us as individuals to say, Lento Zoyenza, are you going to look at it as black tax? If you're going to look at it as black tax, and as I've said, those two words are not necessarily tied to the most positive of aspects, you're not going to feel great about it. But when you start looking at it as look back and pay and give back, you know, then you will start saying, let me do it for the greater good, not of myself, but for those that are coming. Is it before me? Yeah, I think it's before. Those that are coming after me, actually. And realizing that you're not only building yourself nor your family when you've done that, but you're building a community. And I think it starts with us actually realizing, but these words, where do they come from? I strongly, and this is not backed up by any facts or any research, but I strongly doubt that the word black tax came from a black person. And Shem, if someone actually knows, it would be great for them to share with us so that it might change my perspective. But I don't think it came from any of us. So we need to own these concepts. And yes, they will be named by the world, but the moment you own something, you're able to redefine it for yourself.
Thank you so much, Khanya. But Yanga, can I come to you?
All right. On the one of starting a trend and taking pictures, that's the one I'm responding.
Yes.
A fundamental principle of giving is what the right hand does, the left hand should not know. That is genuine giving without any other motives. It is up to the one who receives the help to say that I have been helped. It has less to do about the one giving the help. Be sure that someone is watching and will learn eventually over time. Because now we have no way to curtail this. We've got corporates that are doing CSI projects, but they are also marketing their brands. So we must be cautious. Giving is not a marketing, it's not a strategy to get free marketing.
Thank you so much, Yanga. Butimzo, would you like to answer any of the two questions?
I would like to comment on the first one. I think in the age of Twitter and social media in general, I think it's a fine line, and I completely agree with Yanga that it's for the person who's being helped to publicize what has been done to them. But I can also understand those who want to start a trend and say, look, we can do this. I've done my bit. Can everyone else come in and pitch in? I think for me, it's all about the person who's doing it. It's the intentions that they have. The moment you are doing it because you are marketing yourself, you're marketing your brand, it is not Ubuntu as we know it. It is something else. You might be helping someone else, but it's not the Ubuntu as we know it, or at least certainly as I know it. I think as we think about the subject of black tax, there's a quote by, I think it's Theodore Roosevelt. He says something like, this country will not be a good place for us to live in unless we make it a good place for all of us to live in. And I think the events of the last week or so have really put that point across, that when you do what you think is black tax and you you make it as if it's a grudge exercise. You must think of the comfort that you think you have. For you to continue enjoying it, the person next door must also be comfortable. And if we are able to do that as a society, I think we will get far. So yeah, that's my view.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Bimzo. I think so. What I want to do is I want to just get back to the final question, which I was asking about. How does Black Text, the name Black Text, how does it affect your career, your well-being, or your business? You can choose whichever one. But I said I was really interested in to hear about the well-being. How does it affect us? You know, I have friends as well who have previously complained and saying, or made it almost felt as if it was a burden for them, for example, to have to give. And just, I guess the reason why they probably felt that way is because they have a certain budget to do certain things, but they have to help her at home, and now they're not able to do the stuff that they want to do. And because of that, it makes them feel overwhelmed. And the list can go on how that can affect one. I guess, yeah, no, Khanya, I'll start with you.
This is a weird position for me because I don't think it affects me more than it creates some sort of impact. And I will be honest in that the reason I say it doesn't affect me is because I have been able to have honest and open conversations with those people that I choose to give back to, be it family, be it people that I'm really helping that are not even close to being related to me. So I don't think it affects me. And for me, it's been more than just taking out from what I earn or own and giving, that happens. But it has also been a calling to say, when I'm sitting at my job, what am I getting paid for? And it had to, for me, be, what am I giving back, or what am I lending forward to the next person? So for me, it's honestly been a pleasurable experience. And in the parts where most will find it to be more negative, I have mitigated that through having transparent conversations, be it with my mother, to say, I only earn 500 Rand towards the aircon you want to put up in your house. I can only give you 100 Rand because I still need to rent in Cape Town. I still need to transport myself to work. So it's been pleasurable because of that. And I will never underestimate how my family or those that I am giving back to have been able to understand, because I understand that some come from families that actually will not understand. They're just like, we sent you to wherever, you are earning 15,000, type of thing. So I will never underestimate that aspect. But I do think resolving that aspect lies in us having open and honest conversations and putting boundaries. Those are incredibly.
I want to ask, whilst you're there, do you think sometimes it might have a different impact on guys, or is it the same to everyone? Because I think that's because naturally, automatically, guys should have more. I say this, should have more responsibility at home and giving back. I mean, I speak because I speak from also experience as a guy, and not even being the oldest guy, but having the pressure to have to give back home, etc. Does it have a different impact, do you think? I don't know, maybe some of the guys can think of it themselves.
I was gonna say, maybe some of the guys can answer to that, but I didn't want to tag it at gender. And the reason I didn't want to tag it at gender is because women are fortunately catching up to our male counterparts in terms of us in the employment, corporate, whatever sector that you're in, and we are earning good bucks. So the moment people are conscious of how much you're making, they might put more pressure to you. But this is not nullifying what you're saying from a male perspective. And I can I don't think I can answer in that regards, because I come from a family of women. So yeah.
No, thank you so much, Khanya. Thank you.
Yeah.
Butimzo, I can see you. Oh, I thought you wanted to answer. But I'll give it to you.
I think you framed the question in the present, as in how does it affect me now? I think for me it starts in the past, because I genuinely believe that I wouldn't be the Mzo you know, the Mzo that you've invited today, if it wasn't for those who came before me. And because of that, I never see it as an obligation, as something I have to do. It's just part of me. It's like me waking up in the morning and taking a shower. That's how natural it is for me to assist someone that I can. But I think the key word is I assist where I can. And I make everyone who needs to be assisted understand that I will only assist where I can, to the extent that I can. And I am comfortable when I get the greatest joy when like last week, I got a call from a distant cousin of mine. She needs to go to an interview. She doesn't have 100 rand. And I give her that 100 rand, and the next thing she tells me, she's got a job. That gives me the most satisfaction I can ever hope for. So I never see it as something I have to do, because I give what I can give, and I give to those that I can give to. So I personally, I don't see it as any hindrance in my life. If anything, it has helped me be who I am today.
No, thank you so much, Mzo. Yanga, I'm gonna come to you, sir.
I think I like what Mzo has just mentioned. You see that just from that, these acts of kindness or paying it forward, it's not a lot of finances to it. It's not a lot. It's really not a lot. Especially, I'm talking now to professionals, business people who have been integrated into the formal economy. It's not a lot. Yet we find ourselves, we've got good intentions, but we cannot fund them. I think what we need to be looking at closely is the why is it that we possibly have good intentions, but we cannot follow through with them. I'm currently watching a documentary on Netflix, which has exposed me to a new term called minimalism. It's new to me. Minimalism, being able to live, minimalism, that's what the documentary is called. Being able to live on the minimum stuff instead of wanting to have all these things. The problem with us who have been integrated into the formal economy, our budgets are strained to the T by all these things that we have. So much that you mustn't be surprised when a professional tells you that I don't have 100 rands. Don't be surprised. We have the money, but the money is locked in so many things. That's why now we have this black tax thing more as a fight back, that I don't want to be part of this thing. This is black tax. Yet someone is just asking you for 100 rands to go to an interview. But because we are so much of, we want to consume so much, everything that's new. It doesn't matter if the iPhone 11 still works, I want the 12. We want to consume. Our budgets are so tight. We're living way beyond our means, so much that we can't finance the good intentions we do have.
Yeah, no, makes sense. Butimzo, I can see you raising your hand.
No, there was just one point that Yanga made about those that we assist not needing much. You know, I'm always amazed at how we so-called young professionals, black diamonds, whatever you call us, will think nothing of going to an expensive restaurant and spend 2,000 Rand in one night. And yet when someone asks for help for 200 Rands, we see that as a burden. I completely get the point that the argument, of course, is always that I worked so hard for my money, I should be able to enjoy it as I want to. I get that argument, but I have difficulty accepting that argument if you're going to be complaining because there's an expectation that you must send 500 Rand at home, and yet it's 500 Rand that you spend in one weekend, and some of us are drunk, we don't even know that we spent it. Mm. It's that mentality that I'm just struggling to wrap my mind around.
Mm. I can thank you, Budimzo. I can see now, Khanya, you got your hand up. I can also see that we've just gone over our time, but I want you to just pose this question quickly. What are the different ways that we can give besides money? What is it? What other ideas or ways that one can give to inspire? Is it skill? What is it? But no, Khanya, I'll come to you and you can answer your question, your comment or question.
Yeah, no, it was going to be a comment feeding back to what both Uyanga and Nomzo shared. In me actually, I guess unpacking this, the reason we are able to spend 500 Randi in, for example, a Cubana, is because we have learned to be selfish. We have learned to participate effectively and fully in the system that we're in of consumerism and capitalism. And we have learned to forget where we come from. That's why it's become so heavy. We have learned to say, let me pay for a Merc, a house on the mountain, and not live minimalistically, so that those that come after us are able to, I guess, catch up, for lack of a better word. We've basically just learned to be selfish.
Thank you so much, Khanya. Thank you. Hey, it's really cooking. Zola, let me come to you, sir. Do we have any comments or questions from our viewers?
No, it was questions, but the panelists have answered them in some way, so you can get on, class. Thank you.
Okay, cool. The last question that I was asking, that what are the other ways, what are different ways one can give besides just money?
I'll give you a practical one. It's strange that you put me in this panel with my senior. You must know that Mzo is my senior. I'm now a lifetime scholar in the classroom of Mzo. Just over 10 years. My mental framework at any given time, if I know there's something that I need in terms of advice, guidance, he's 10 years older than me. I pick up the phone call, I speak to him. Tough times when I was starting a business, getting into some agreements, I would say, Mzo, can you look into this? Is this a good agreement to sign? And it will probably take him an hour. And he knew at the time, this thing of Yanga, I can't even charge him yet. But having access to someone more exposed and more advanced than who's walked a journey ahead of you, having that open line. Mzo has never given me money, but I can tell you, I can attribute a lot of what I've achieved through the guidance that he gives to me on a daily basis and through what he models as a person. So because it's not just about money, you know, our lives, the biggest problem is to define success to be about money only. When I look at my family life, which is far younger, he is someone you can say, I aspire to be. I can have tea with. He can make a call and say, I think you need to speak to so-and-so because a network can open another network, you know? I think we went to school with Khanya. During those days, when we were living res, June holidays, we would go there at the application office. You get that that what is it called? The booklet that tells you of other courses that people can study with application forms, because you knew you are the one in Cape Town and you want to also have other people coming in. There was no money involved there. But through those things, there were other people who now you made this education inclusion thing to be simpler. At work, you can't be the only one, man. You just can't be the only one. Make sure, hold someone by the hand and say, I've got a CV. Can you just Lundu once in your life have a CV? And not, hey, black people today, I've come across them. We're talking about black tech. Black people today are even shy. It's like you are giving them a tender without following due process. Yet a person is asking, what kind of questions how can I manage the interview in the company that you work in? But blacks will be like, I don't want to get involved. Go fend for yourself in the interview. There are so many things we can do that are non-monetary for one another. I hope in that you are able to pick up here and there.
No, thank you. Thank you so much, Yanga. Butimzo, coming to you. I'm going to wrap it up now. I can see we've just gone past our time. It's 7:10 already. Any questions? Any words from you about that, Butimzo? What other ways can we can give or inspire? I guess you've already started doing it because we actually when you are his senior, and you probably just looking at that document. That's a way of sort of giving. But I want you to speak for yourself.
You must just give me money now, Lund.
I think I think what Yanga just said, because he has never said it to me, so I didn't know about it. But for me, that's exactly the message. It's not something you need to even. You don't have to have 100 people. If you're able to have just one person, that's all it takes. And it doesn't have to be with money. Of course, most of us can always do with some cash. But I mean, help can be just me saying, if you're looking for something like this, go to Yanga, go share your networks. Just sharing your networks is good enough for a lot of people. And I look at Usaz and all of you guys at BBGI. What you guys are doing is exactly what needs to be done. You create the platform that people can come in and learn what they can learn, network with who they can network with. For me, that is enough. We don't need to be doing something much more than that.
Thank you so much, Butimzo. Now, Khanya, I'll come to you.
Yes, I think we need to realize that a lot of our success comes with being interconnected with each other. I can never, for one, sell my cakes to myself. I can never do that which I do for myself and for myself alone. I need you, Lundu, to say, Khanya does this, it's great. Build that circle around you. And I like how both Umzono Yanga did not touch on financial giving. It does not have to be financial. Our time, which can never be financially reimbursed, is just as important, if not the utmost important part of actually giving back. Spending time with the young people that actually need advice on how to be a lawyer, how to get into community development because time planning is not working for them, and giving your words of guidance. Also going out and say, another thing that we like to do is we like to sit in these groups and talk like this. It's great. Get up from that seat, from that comfortable home. Hamba uye pha elokishini ubafumane abantwana abadinga olusizo or mama, wherever your interests lie, and actually do the work. It's all good and great that we talk, but we need to actually get our hands dirty and get it done. So our success lies in us being interconnected.
No, thank you so much. No, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that we try to do here at the Black Business Growth Initiative, that we've said, hey, listen, if you've got a certain skill, if you'd like to volunteer, that's great. Because I think the more we have people involved, the more we can reach out to even more people, you know. So if there are people, the people who are watching, any of the viewers, if you want to reach out to us and say, hey, I've got these skills, I'd like to volunteer this skill, I would like for us to maybe host an event in the townships, etc. There's a venue, I'll organize. And then this is what we want people to come in with initiative, and how do we build and have more people involved in order for this to grow. And I guess I'm gonna come to you guys. Any final remarks? Any last thoughts? I don't know who should I start. I'll start with Yanga, but before I finish, I'm just gonna go to Zola. One last time, Zola, do we have any, maybe one or two questions that we can take? Any updates or comments, anything, just before we close?
No, it's just affirmations, you know, to how great the session is and how much people are learning from our panelists. So that's about it. So it's people just sharing the excitement, you know, and being appreciative of what our panelists are sharing with them. So it's not necessarily questions
awesome.
To say or comments. It's just thank you guys, thank you, and thank you.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Zola. So Yanga, I'll give you 30 seconds. Any last remarks, any last comments from today's session? And then Budumzo, you can go, and then we'll save the last for the lady.
A friend of mine asked me a question to say, Yanga, what is it that you would do if all your money problems were sorted out? You didn't have to worry about money. Because he's in that space of now doing what he actually wants to do without minding money. Money is sorted. And he is more focused on social stuff. And I want to say, once we are able to answer that question to ourselves, that's probably the one thing that we should be doing now, even though we are still having hurdles with money, because money is just an end. It's a means to something, but we're going to leave it here. Let's not be busy about so-and-so is coming to mingle in my money. We're gonna leave it here. Focus on the other stuff, because money is here today, tomorrow is not there. But acts of kindness, they will outlive you.
Thank you so much, Yanga. Budumzo?
For me, I would say, for at least, and I'll talk to us as guys, if you're gonna go to Cubana or Waterfall Corner and pay a bill for ladies you don't know, don't talk to me about black tech. And I'll leave it at that.
Khanya?
I'll bring it down to practicalities, and that starts with understanding why it's become a burden for you and trying to resolve that. Having authentic and open conversations with those that you need to have those conversations with, so that you can put the ladder back down for the next person to climb on it. And I think I'll repeat the sentence that I closed off my last comment with, and that is, part of our success, if not part, all of our success comes with us being able to be interconnected. Other ethnic groups have been able to do it. It's a matter of us replicating.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you to our beautiful panel. And I'm sure all our viewers as well who have listened, they really enjoyed what our panelists have had to say today. So Khanya, Budumzo, Yanga, thank you so much. We appreciate this. And this is part of that giving back, just your time, just being here. and sharing your wisdom and sharing your knowledge and sharing your experiences, and hoping there's someone somewhere, some places listening, and they will take this and run with it for the rest of their life. And that's what's important. So thank you so much to our beautiful panelists for your input today. We really appreciate it. And thank you to our viewers. Thank you to the team from the Black Business Growth Initiative. Keep an eye out for our next event, and we will be posting on our social media. And you can keep in touch and stay in touch and look after yourself. Be safe, Corona. Be safe, guys. And that's it. That's it from our panelists. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching today. And we're out. Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to the team. Thank you. We have not forgotten our team as well. Thank you to our team behind the scenes doing all the technical work and putting in the program together as well. Everyone, thank you so much. Everyone is leaving one by one. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes,
Zona,
Tim now.
Yes,
you and me.
Awesomeness.
I think great session, just to say the least. Very interactive.
Have you stopped recording?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Have you stopped recording?
Sorry?
Have you stopped recording on Facebook?
Yeah, I've stopped. I've stopped.
Awesome. All right, great. Okay.
Let me just stop our session here.